Good morning, Tempo Freaks and Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here, and it's Thursday, and the Tempo are hosting the LA Sparks at Coca-Cola Coliseum tonight, the beginning of a long homestand. The Tempo are going to be in or around Toronto or Canada for most of the next month, and that includes home games at Coca-Cola Coliseum, home games at Scotiabank Arena, and home games in Montreal and Vancouver coming up in the near future also. So there's going to be a lot of home games for the Tempo coming up, and we start off at regular home base, Coca-Cola Coliseum tonight, Los Angeles Sparks, one of the original WNBA franchises that's been in the league for 30 years since it started, celebrating the 30 years of WNBA action. Well, let's get right to it. Latest lineup news and ref report for tonight to get you set up to know what to expect. Well, Brittany is out still. We know Brittany Sykes has an injury to her foot, plantar fasciitis, and she will be reevaluated in the coming weeks, according to Kareem Copeland of the WNBA. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit, but good news, they have said publicly that they expect both Sykes and Rice to be back this season. So that's a good thing. Niara Sabali is not on the injury list at all this morning, so she is good to go. So nothing there. Kiki Rice is out today because of the left ankle sprain. And well, they're going to check her and get back to us on this one, similar to Brittany Sykes. So no Sykes, no Rice, and that's it. Tempo are clean on the injury report. Otherwise, nobody else is listed. No Niara, no Temi. So let's get it and get out there with the 10 that we have healthy, ready to play tonight. That's right. I'm going to expect, and this is what I hope, the starting lineup for the Toronto Tempo tonight will be point guard Julie Alamon, shooting guard Marina Mabry, small forward Laura Yesqueta, power forward Isabel Harrison, and center Niara Sabli. That's what I hope they start. But last game they started Maria Conde at small forward, and I think that was a big fatal mistake in the game against Atlanta, against the Dream. So I would please ask you, Sandy, utilize the big lineup for the start of the game by putting Yesqueta at the 3 with Harrison and Sabli on the front line with her. That's please, Sandy. That's the right lineup because that lineup was very successful against Connecticut. All right, on the other side of things, there are some very key injuries for the LA Sparks right now. In fact, this week, a very devastating injury for their franchise in this season. Kelsey Plum is hurt, y'all. That's right. Kelsey Plum got hurt this week. She suffered a lower left leg injury, and she's going to be reevaluated in a month. Yikes. This is a brutal blow for the Sparks. The earliest possible return would be July the 28th for Kelsey Plum, their best player, their all-star, their team leader. So she is going to miss her first game for this injury. She did play against the Liberty on, I guess, Monday or Sunday, and that's the game she got hurt. So Kelsey Plum is out tonight. She will not be playing for the Sparks, and I'm not upset about that because she's a game changer. She's a prolific scorer, and she's somebody is their number one. She's their number one. She's not going to be there. Cameron Brink is also out today, guys. Cam Brink is off the bench, one of their bigs. She has an ankle issue, and she's ruled out. Will not be playing today. It's to be her third missed game in a row due to a left ankle sprain. So no Cameron Brink tonight for the Sparks also. So those are two very key players for them. The players that will be available for the Los Angeles Sparks tonight, of course, is the returning Nneka Onwuemeke. She played for them before, and she was gone for a while. Now she's returned and playing for them again this season. Derica Hamby, Ariel Atkins, Erica Wheeler, Ray Burrell, Laura Ziegler, Kiana Williams, Kate Martin, Chance Gray, Jihoon Park, Tania Latson, Emma Cannon. That's the roster for the Sparks and who's playing tonight. The ESPN matchup predictor is saying the Toronto Tempo have a 43.2% chance to win. So we're not favored at home tonight against LA, a team that we actually beat when we went and played them over in their arena. I think we split with them, right? It was 1-1 or something. Either way, we've beaten the Sparks before. They're 8-8 record. We're 8-9. It's very similar. I'd like to even our record back to 9-9 and 500. So they don't trust us. 43%. I have a better feeling about tonight, especially with the news about Plum this week, that the Tempo can figure it out. We were competitive with the Dream in the second half of the last game. And I think that if we can build off of that kind of tenacity and energy that we were showing against Atlanta, we'd be able to beat Los Angeles tonight. So I don't get why they're so down on us. I still don't get how these ESPN matchup predictors are going for the Toronto Tempo specifically, because I don't get it. I just don't get it. I feel like what they factor in is like they better factor in the home court of Coca-Cola Coliseum and just how much the crowd is there to help them. Let's just put it that way. Let's just the referees for tonight, they're a little. I will say that. The referees for tonight's game, Sparks at Tempo, Tony Patillo, number 76, is the crew chief. We are 0-2 with Tony so far this year. 2 games reffed, both games losses. Teresa Stuck will be the referee at number 37. We are 0-2 with Teresa Stuck also so far this season. And the umpire will be Gerda Gatling, number 24. And we are 1-0 with Gerda. So collective record for the referees tonight for the Toronto Tempo so far in their early expansion history is 1-4 record with winning with the 3 refs today. That's not a good 1-4. Yeah, Patillo and Stuck we have not won with them as refs. We've lost 2 games. So there's a tough ref crew. We'll see how it is tonight. It's a very bare bones ref report. As I go, we'll have more information about it all as we go further into the history of the Toronto Tempo. So there's your setup for today. Some very key injuries to the Sparks. And, well, the ref crew's a little, at least so far in our early history. Maybe we'll get that W's with Teresa and Tony today. That'd be awesome. All right, let me check in with y'all in the chat. Of course, we had the second night of the NBA draft last night. The Raptors selecting Jaden Bradley at number 50 out of Arizona. We've got some fun stuff to talk about that. And also, I'll cover the CBL game last night with Edmonton and Saskatoon. So let's get right to the chat and see what y'all are saying this morning. Trevor J's words of wisdom. Thank you for being the commissioner of fun, Trevor. Both fear and faith ask you to believe in something you can't see for you to choose. Interesting. Yeah, oh man, religiosity and belief in God, that God is protecting you and looking out for you, is a great thing. Faith in God, faith in Jesus, to be looking out and have good things happen is fantastic. And sometimes you just got to get a busload of faith to get by, right, Lou Reed? Busload of faith to get by. Yeah. So lean into it, especially when times are shaky or tough or seem like they may be a little weird. Have faith. I think that's the right message. I think that Trevor is a strong proponent of this, and he has been for many years around this channel. And I appreciate him for instilling the mindset in me to think about the bright side of things and stay positive. So I appreciate that, Trevor Jones. Blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. Yeah. Trevor J saying, happy game day, Tempo. Let's get back to winning 1 month at home. Yeah, whole month. It's crazy, but it's a misnomer. It's not totally true. We are at home, but home is the whole entire country of Canada. So there is travel still involved. And this game on Saturday is a big deal. They're going to have the Pride game on Saturday at Scotiabank Arena, not at Coca-Cola Coliseum. And, I'm hoping they sell out that arena so they get like the 19,800 that we can fill that whole arena. In some ways, I'm thinking, man, you should go to the game yourself, Lex, and support and be one of those numbers in the seat. just to make sure that they get there because it was helpful to be down there for Chicago Sky Minnesota Lynx in that famous WNBA game that made us get our team. So I'd like to see Scotiabank mostly filled on Saturday for the Phoenix Mercury game because it's going to be a big, big deal. And speaking of that, I want to do the Toronto Tempo Redditor of the day right now. It's old mycologist 2332, and they're asking first Tempo game tips for getting autographs. Hi, everyone. I got tickets for Pride Night in the game against the Valkyries on July the 8th. I was wondering if any players do any autograph signings before the games. Also, if I hang around near the tunnel after the game, is there usually a chance to get a signature? I'm mainly hoping to get my Tempo hoodie hat signed. Now, this changed. This actually asked about Saturday at first. The Pride game is actually Saturday, and it is in Scotiabank Arena. And I wrote an answer to this saying that, if you're going to the game on Saturday for Pride, it's not going to be easy to get any autographs at Scotiabank Arena. So many people ask about getting autographs for Raptors games, and it's impossible unless you paid the tickets to get the seats along the tunnel entrance. Now, if you sit over the overhang, you can get stuff signed there. Little kids go to Raptors games and hang their jerseys over the edge, and the players sign them then. But you can't get to that area of the arena unless you have the ticket that you can show the person, and they'll let you come in that area because everybody wants to go down there. And those security guys, they're buddies of mine. They're not going to let you through unless you can show that you have seats down there. So if you're going to the game on Saturday, the Phoenix Mercury game, you're going to have to just not try and get autographs. It's just impossible. Seriously, unless you pay that extra amount to sit near the tunnel, you're not going to get access to get autographs. Just trust me. The best way to get autographs is in a player's signing event at some public place, like they're at Foot Locker and they're there for 2 hours and you got to stand in line and they'll sign you something then sometimes. Now, Coca-Cola Coliseum, they do have a really good setup for this, and it is easier to get players' signatures at that arena. Like tonight, there's a entryway that they have to come through to get to the court, and they have it all roped off, and it literally goes through the concourse where all the concessions and merchandise is. And if you line up along that little pathway that they have to come through, because it's the only way to get in to get to the court, they will stop and sign. And apparently in the comment section on this post, there's some people that have came and Marina came and signed for like 15 minutes right along that area there. So it does sound like there's easier access to get fan autographs from the players at Coca-Cola. It's just, at Scotiabank, don't even try and do it. Just trust me. It's a headache. And anybody who has this want or really needs to get autographs, which I don't totally understand myself, you're going to have to not want to try and do it when you're at Scotiabank, whether it is the Tempo or the Raptors. Everybody's always asking, how can I meet the Raptors on Reddit? And I'm like, you don't understand. They don't want you meeting them. They don't want you meeting them. Either way, mycologist 2332, I seen you change your post because you originally were going to go to the Mercury game, but now you switched it to the Valkyries game in July. That's a much better game to try and get the autographs, just so you know. All right, you are the Tempo Redditor of the day right there. That's right. Let's see. Trevor's brought up that the Raptors have drafted Jaden Bradley. One more dog. This guy is another Shed. Very strong player. Yeah, the comparisons have been to Shed immediately. This guy at 50, Jaden Bradley of Arizona, 2 years at Alabama before 2 years at Arizona, a 4-year college player, a player that has strengths and weaknesses, and in some ways shows a winning attitude, a winning kind of feel around him. There's some questions about his three-point shot and whether it'll be dependable or not. I've seen in his highlights good playmaking ability. like maybe even better than Shed at what point he's at, because that kind of in some ways is one of Shed's weak points. Is his passing. He doesn't pass very strong. He has a lot of turnovers off of passes. And well, this guy Bradley may be a little bit more true point guard and better at the playmaking part. Now, is he better at defense than Shed? Probably not. There is definitely going to be a natural thing to compare Jaden Bradley to Jamal Shed. Then how does he factor in with everything? Well, Dan Tolzman in the late night interview as the assistant GM, taking the second press conference, about 8 minutes of interview, said they haven't sussed out and figured out the two ways in the hierarchy of the Raptors roster. They're going to figure it out through Summer League. And, in some ways, you got to put that carrot out in front of the mule to get it to move. So the motivation is like, look, what do you want? A regular roster spot? You want a two-way? You want this? You want that? And we're talking to you also, Elijah Martin and Chucky Hepburn. So it sounds like there may be a regular roster spot out there for one of these guys who's going to earn it at Summer League, because that's where they're going to analyze and figure it out. But Jaden Bradley looks like another dog to bring in the fold, a high IQ player, a guy who plays very hard, a guy who has a winning pedigree from university. And yeah, the parallels to Shed are there for sure. For sure. People that wanted a guard, well, a lot of people on social media and Raptors Nation are happy with this pick. And they're saying, oh, we got a dog, we got a baller. Because that's one of the things I noticed is that he can hoop. This guy can hoop. He can fill it up. But we'll see. He also is hot and cold. He can have a really good game where he's making, and then you have other games where he's stone cold and he's got a 0-point game. So we're just going to have to see the Jaden Bradley of the NBA that we're going to get. And once again, there's no guarantees this guy does anything for us. He has to earn it and come in and wow us and show that he is worthwhile to have on the team. So we'll see. We'll see. Nako's here. Good morning to Nako, the Nacho. Jaden Bradley got long arms. Yeah. If we're going to get a guy who's around 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", they better have a long wingspan too, right? And be a shit disturber. Yeah, Jacoby Walter kind of long arms. That's right. Trevor's saying this. Detroit traded Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, to the Grizzlies for 3 future second-round picks. Yeah? Yeah, I hate this with Raptors Nation. They see moves going on around everywhere, and they're like, why didn't we get Isaiah Stewart? Why didn't we do this? Why did we do that? I don't know. Maybe we weren't involved in the conversation. Maybe it wasn't a possibility for us, but it was a possibility for other people. Stop doing this. This world is what it is. And if we can get stuff done, we will. But don't think that Bobby's a failure because he didn't land Beef Stew. Like, shit. It's so annoying. I get so annoyed with people seeing things like the Giannis trade to Miami, and they're like, the Raptors suck because they couldn't do it. Oh my gosh. These people are just unrealistic and crazy, is what I'm going to say. Everybody's upset because Memphis got Isaiah Stewart from Detroit yesterday. Get over yourself. That was a deal that was made between those two teams, and in some ways, we didn't do it, and that's fine. We can't have all the players in the league. So just stop. Seriously. In fact, I want to do the Raptors Raider of the day now, too. And this is King Lochner, 16. And he's saying that Bobby Webster is definitely one of one. This is a really interesting stat from the second round last night. Every single pick in the second round last night was a traded pick except for ours. We were the only team that got our pick where we got it, and we did not shuffle it or move it or run around. There was a lot of weird trades last night. Let's just put it that way. It seemed like for every draft pick last night, there was some sort of trade on ESPN saying the Lakers have traded this pick to go to this number, this number. It's just all confusing. Like, what are y'all doing? Is this 3-card money with your trade picks? Like, I'm going to move these all around. Then you pick this, which one it's under. What is all this confusion and confounding things that y'all are doing with moving everything around? In some ways, I'm glad I didn't even try and keep track of any of it. I didn't care. I just had the tracker on, and I said, oh, there's a lot of trades going on every which way. But I just waited for number 50, and boom, Jaden Bradley. Okay, great. Now I can go to bed. I don't give a shit if the Lakers traded 100 times last night. Who cares? But yeah, this is very interesting that the Raptors were the only team that kept their pick, did not trade their pick, and just drafted with their pick out of all 30 picks for last night's second round. They all were traded picks. It wasn't an original pick for any of the other picks except for Jaden Bradley of the Raptors. That's pretty cool. I honestly like that. Some people are getting mad about that. But once again, these are people that want moves just for the sake of moves for entertainment and not necessarily whether it's a good thing for the team or not. Because there are people like this in Raptors Nation that just want moves because they want freshness. They want a dopamine hit of something because they're all stuck on the reels and the algorithm and all the bullshit. Listen, if Bobby is not making mistakes, he can do with what we want, what we got. And we don't need to be making moves for the sake of just making moves. It's silly shit. It is. And in some ways, I'm glad we weren't involved in all the confusing back and forth of this pick for this pick for these two picks. And then this is this and this. Who cares? This is crazy. You're making a mess. You're like a crazy ass intersection of an interstate where the spaghetti roads all tied up and crazy. And you get lost. It's hard enough to try and find Pearson. I'm just saying. Yeah, Bobby Webster is definitely 101, and we love him. And thank you, Bobby, for being like that. King Lochner, 16, you are the Raptors Redder of the day. And this is just awesome. It's symbolic. It seriously is. It's like, look, we don't have waste. We don't try to do frivolous shit. We do things with intention. We do things to make it last. We may do things to get it right the first time. That's the problem. Trades are usually because teams are trying to fix some mistakes they made. And well, the Raptors do things right the first time. They get the trades and the draft picks right. They don't have to do all these crazy back and forth transactions that teams were doing last night. That's the way I look at it. Seriously. That's the way I look at it. All right, let's keep going in the chat. Nako saying, care to do a scout for Jaden Bradley? I did last night. I can't do a blind scout if I already watched him and looked at him. He's all right. I mean, I don't have high hopes for, the one that is important is Shed. It's Shed. He's the keeper. There's some special stuff about him. In some ways, this pick is to light a fire under Shed's ass, to make him motivated to go even higher levels. Because look, there's a guy behind you, and he's similar. And in some ways, he might do some of the same things that you do. And you don't want him to surpass you with his progress and getting better. So Shed, yeah, there's a runner running behind you now. Yeah, last year we could have said something about that with Elijah and Chucky. But, Chucky got hurt, and Elijah's not really the same position. So, but this one is the same position. And this one is the same kind of guy that could take over the spot that Jamal Shed is in right now. So this definitely is a motivator for old Shed. Yeah. But I believe in Shed, and Shed is the one I would want to keep. But Jaden Bradley, you can win me over a little bit by showing some stuff and doing things a certain way. I mean, they were very explicit with this. Dan Tolzman and Bobby Webster both said, we want to draft guys that'll be competitive with our existing guys and push them to higher levels. So there you go. There's your push, Jamal Shed. His name's Jalen Bradley. Jaden Bradley. Yeah. Jaden Bradley. Yeah, I can't scout him now. I already watched him. James is saying solid pick, even though Henri Visar was still on the board. This is mystifying to me. I feel bad for my Estonian brother that he fell so far. He fell like over 20 picks into the draft. He was supposed to be a first rounder, and he was still available at 50 when we were picking last night. Man, something's not right there. There's some talk that maybe it was because he told a bunch of people don't draft me because I won't come and report if it's any of y'all, and there's only specific teams that I want to play for. He ended up getting drafted by the Clippers, but I don't even know if he's still on the Clippers because there were so many moves that are so confusing and all kinds of stupid stuff. Okay, breaking news. LaMelo Ball is not going to be on the Raptors. Thank God. Everybody going crazy last night with LaMelo Ball rumors to the Raptors. He got traded to the Timberwolves just now for Naz Reid. He's getting traded with Josh Green. Josh Green and LaMelo Ball to Minnesota Timberwolves for Naz Reid and a series of draft picks. This is just breaking news in the last 15 minutes. So, yeah, let me go look at what I was just looking at with Visar. Yeah, Visar didn't go until the 52nd pick, and he went to the Clippers. Now, I'm wondering this about Henry, is that his metabolism and his skinniness just turned everybody off. Everybody looked at him and said, "Yeah, he can shoot the three. Yeah, he can run the court pretty good. He's got certain rebounding, but he's also real thin and he can be pushed around like a lightweight." And that it's crazy because he was definitely like hyped as a first round pick, and wow, he fell to 52. It's crazy. I almost thought it was because they were going to just blacklist him and not put him in the draft at all, and he was just going to be like a Kai Soto. It was just like all of a sudden, yeah, this guy, he could be good, but he's foreign. And in some ways, I don't know if he's coming to the league. And well, we all passed on him. Yeah, it looked like that for VSAR for a while there. People are talking about that the Raptors fumbled in the second round because they had two legitimate center projects, Henry and Onyeso, Ghana Onyeso, that was available at that point because the big man from Virginia was available when we selected at 50. It was interesting at that point in the draft. Three of my suggestions were in a row right there with Visar, Nelson. Isaiah Nelson went the pick right after us, the dark horse candidate out of University of South Florida. And then Onyeso was the last one of my suggested 10 picks that went off the board at 53. But all 10 of my suggestions got picked. It's just there was a little bit of flip around with Curry going in the first round and Visar going in the second round. But yeah, it's crazy. We had the opportunity to get one of those centers, and we passed, and we got Jaden Bradley instead. I don't know. I kind of hate that in a way because in some ways, I understand if Visar is dropping so much, there's definitely a red flag and something about him that people have gotten turned off about. But Igana Yesu, why wouldn't you pick him at 50? Because he would be just another long, very tall person that could be on a roster and run around with us. I don't know. I don't get it totally. I don't get it exactly. Let's see. James is saying just like last year, get a forward and a guard. Yep. I don't know. We'll see. Free agency, trade. Let's see how we get another center because we do still need to get another center. Mr. Greg saying good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Mr. Greg. Hope you got up and you're having a fantastic morning so far. I have to go to the dentist today, which is not always fun, but it's just a cleaning. So hopefully, and I'll just go in there and get it all done and get out of there. A quick day at the dentist. That's what I'm hoping today. G saying LaMelo Ball traded the Wolves. Yeah, that's fine. Mr. Greg says it's a good trade for the Timberwolves. Nah, I don't think so. Man, I don't think LaMelo Ball is good at all. I think LaMelo Ball is a circus clown. I think that LaMelo Ball isn't serious about his life. I think that LaMelo Ball is a dead end. I think that LaMelo Ball is a human alpaca. I think that LaMelo Ball is weird because he like tattooed Cheetos on his skin. I think LaMelo Ball is weird because he runs red lights and he's a menace to the city of Charlotte. Well, now a menace to the city of Minnesota. No, this is a horrible trade as far as I'm concerned. Minnesota, you lose for this one. And Naz Reid is a way better player and more useful player to have on a team building towards a championship than LaMelo Ball. I don't understand this move at all. In some ways, I can understand trading Randall to Brooklyn and doing some of the moves they did there. But this is a move that's in the wrong direction. Just trust me. You're going to put Ball with Anthony Edwards. It's not going to be good for Anthony Edwards. In some ways, Anthony Edwards is a guy who's been walking the tightrope of crashing out and being immature and doing stupid shit and still being professional and being the highest level as he can be. The influence of LaMelo Ball on this team is going to hurt him. It's going to make Anthony Edwards more of a clown and not as serious. And it's going to hurt Anthony Edwards' career. I'm going to say this right now. The way LaMelo plays is fundamentally awful. The way he has not improved in the years he's been in this league so far. And he's going to drag Anthony down with him. So this is a horrible move. The best version of the Minnesota Timberwolves was last year, the one that just finished the playoffs. And now they're destroying their team by bringing in an idiot like LaMelo Ball. As you can tell, I'm not a fan of him, Mr. Greg. I'm not a fan for him. Yeah, Nako's saying, not Naz Reid. That's right. Naz Reid going to Charlotte. Good trade for both teams. I don't see it, Reggie. I feel like the Timberwolves just messed up. Seriously, LaMelo Ball needed to be on Charlotte for a reason. Just trust me. He goes to a team that's trying to contend. He brings them down. Like he doesn't bring them up. This is horrible. In some ways, I don't care about the Timberwolves, but they messed up. And mark my words, you're going to hear it. They're going to have a worse year than this past year. And Timberwolves fans are going to be like, why did we trade for LaMelo Ball? They're going to be saying that halfway through the season. I'm predicting this right now. It's not a good trade for them. Honestly, Charlotte, I don't care. Them just getting Naz Reid is not a needle pusher. This deal is bad for both teams. I'm going to disagree with all y'all. This deal is bad for both teams because in some ways, LaMelo was the franchise face. Naz Reid, you just traded the franchise face for a backup big man, and that's it, and some picks. That's like a fail in value, first of all. And then Minnesota, you got worse getting LaMelo Ball. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. The Ball family's been a dead end since the start. LeVar and his kids are awful. Lonzo was wasting everybody's time for a while there with his injury. And, well, where is he even coming back from all that? LaMelo may be the most talented one and who's got the most success, but he's still a knucklehead, and he is a dead end to get anywhere. You think LaMelo Ball's ever going to win a championship? No. There's never, ever going to be a year that he's on a team with combination of players other than him that will get him to a championship. He's just not that type of player. The kid belongs on the Harlem Globetrotters, going around the world doing tricks instead of playing serious basketball. That's the truth right there. That's how I feel about it. Randolph saying this, good game day blessings, beloved Raptors Freaks family. New day, new energy, new hope. Let's do new things and help renew the world. I like that. A lot of new in there. New day, like the WWF tag team, the New Day. That's right. New energy, new hope, new hope. Star Wars episode 4. Yeah, New Hope. I like that one. That's the first one. That's the one that made everybody crazy, like Carl Lane. That's right. Yeah. I love this. All right, new beginnings. Let's go, Randolph Phillips. That's right. It was like the summer solstice, the longest day of the year recently, and we're now in the middle of summer, right in the middle of it. Soak it up. Soak up the new day of summer. That's right. Mr. Gray saying, yes, we beat them. ESPN knows zero about basketball. Yeah, we beat the Sparks. I don't know if we beat them both games that we played them. We played them 2 in a row in LA at the beginning of the season. And if I remember correctly, we split that. If I remember correctly. Let me just check. I'm very curious about this because I want to do a little check on my memory and see how good it is. Yeah, we played the Sparks twice this season already, and we split. Yeah, we lost the first game to them, and then we beat them in the second time we played them. Yeah, and that was our 4th game of the season we won against them. So we want to win this game today because it's the rubber match, right? We want to win the 3rd match and say that we're up 2-1 over the LA Sparks. That's right. Reggie's saying this. Interesting to see what the Raptors do, given that they were in on LaMelo as well. I don't believe that shit. I think that fans hear that somebody's in trade talks and they just like, oh, the Raptors wanted LaMelo. I want LaMelo. I love him, LaMelo. Bro, let's not be Adonis, Drake's little kid. We don't need to be like him. He's an idiot. He likes LaMelo. I'm telling y'all, I have no respect for LaMelo. I have zero respect for LaMelo. And I will diss him. Every time he's in the conversation on my show, this has been consistent for the 5 years I've been doing this. I do not respect LaMelo Ball. I think that he's a joke. I think that the way he plays basketball is bad for the game. I think that he is not going to get anywhere in his career, and I'll continue to say this. And he's just going to bring bad things to Minnesota. Seriously, he's just going to bring bad things there. Yeah, I'm so glad dodged another bullet. Thank God. If Bobby was even considering this, hopefully he wasn't, because I think he's a smart man. The Raptors conversation with Charlotte in this situation was not very deep, hopefully. Thank God he went to Minnesota. We just dodged a bullet, y'all. Seriously, he's on my no play for the Raptors list. I'm telling you right now, he is. He's not a winning player, and he gets you nowhere near closer to that right there. I'm just saying. Fiercely saying this. Good morning, fam, and happy game day. I will miss the game due to my daughter's prom ball, but we'll watch the replay. We must capitalize on Plum and Brink not playing and game plan around NECA. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a good game plan. I mean, it's great to not have the offensive threat of Kelsey Plum on the court to face tonight. It's great to not have to deal with the defensive and length of Cameron Brink tonight. You know, the Sparks are not necessarily one of the better teams in the league, and they're missing two of their key players. Yeah, we need to beat them. We're missing two key players. They're missing two key players. Let's go. Let's get it on. Let's see who's going to win this then with who's left over. And in some ways, is the argument was NECA the best player on the court tonight, or is Marina Mabry the best court player on the court tonight? I don't know. We'll have to find out. I'd love to see Julie Alamong rise up and play against her team from last year and have a huge game against them just to prove something. You know, kind of like Mabry going to Connecticut last week and showing them, yeah, you should have protected me in the expansion draft. Well, Julie, you can do this too. I'm going to say this once again, Julie Alamong, quit wasting your life and get up off your ass and go get it and be like a little bit eye of tiger and say, you did not protect me from the tempo in the expansion draft. So I'm going to scorch you now, today, on June the 25th, 2026. The LA Sparks. Excuse me. All right, let's see. Mr. Greg saying, I would venture a guess that they draw at least 18,000. I hope so. I hope so. Because those numbers matter. In some ways, people have been making very male chauvinist jokes about filling the arenas for WNBA. We see that WNBA is very popular in a lot of places. And we see in a lot of the arenas, they fill out and they get really good crowds. And well, we got to prove that here in Toronto once again with Scotiabank in that capacity. Because, you know, if we don't get a good number in that building, you know, the signs of the economic ramifications of possibly being in that building at some point full time, you know, we need to be good in there. We need to get the revenue and the money for the tempo to make it work. Because listen, that's not our building. And in some ways, you know, they're gonna have to pay Ed Rogers and MLSE to rent it every game. So they have to make a certain amount of money to make the profit. And that's the thing. It's like Coca-Cola Coliseum is half the arena the Scotiabank Arena is. Literally, it may, you know, it's more than twice the arena. And you know, you want to show good numbers of filling the seats and attendance so that you could have prospective possibilities in the future. You know, that's what we got to think about. That's why this game on Saturday is very important with the Phoenix Mercury at Scotiabank Arena. It's very, very important that they fill that arena as much. You know, the Montreal game, we've talked about that a lot recently about how they want to break the attendance record for a women's basketball game ever in Montreal with their attendance at that game that they have there. So we'll have to see if that happens too. Hopefully it will. Canada, you got come out strong for the WNBA and the Toronto Tempo coming up in the next month. You really do. You really, really do. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay's brought up the news about LaMelo. Yeah, it's stupid. It's a dumb move. I think it's a fail for both teams. I really do seriously think that. I think both teams just got worse. I really do. I think both teams just got worse. Fiercely saying this, Hamby and Wheeler are streaky. So let's hope it'll be an off night for them. Yeah. Yeah. They, you know, they don't have any like super dependable players, like maybe NECA, and that's it. The rest of them are kind of up and down. Burrell, different ones, you know. Let's see. Good morning to Fiercey from Mr. Greg. Shaq Lindsay saying LaMelo and Green for Naz and 7 first-round picks. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Either way, the franchise face, the red light runner is out of Charlotte. I don't think this is good for Minnesota, guys. I really don't. And we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of picks, 7 picks. That's crazy. Yeah. Just glad it wasn't us. Yeah. Dodge the bullet. We don't need to be involved in this. Why would we need this guy? Does this guy help our team concept and what we're doing right now? No, he doesn't fit in it. That's why, you know, Raptors Nation, when they get online and they hear these names and the trade rumors, they get all crazy and they're like, oh, yeah, let's get this guy. You don't even think about fit. You don't even think about whether this makes any sense. Y'all just get enamored with the name. It's like, oh, I like this guy. You know, I just love his trick stuff. I love how he is. He's fun. Yeah, but is he winning basketball like Jamal Shed? No, he's not. He's not. He's the opposite. He's more likely to ruin a game than win a game for you because he made a dumb, careless turnover because he was trying to be showy. That's what's more likely with him. I have no respect in the least for LaMelo Ball. I think he's one of the worst players in the league, honestly. I really, really do. I put him in that category with Trae Young, just useless player. You don't want him on your team. Trust me. You want a lot of showiness. You want to attract young people to be watching your game because he's so fun. And, oh, I love LaMelo. He's cute. He's my role model. Well, we're doomed. If this Cheeto tattoo having weirdo is your role model, well, we're doomed. If you look up to him, I'm just going to say that we're doomed. If this cheesy, goofy ass motherfucker is your hero, young people, we're doomed. We're doomed. You're learning from him. He's teaching you how to live your life. We're doomed. Idiocracy is in full effect. Absolutely is. UFC's in the White House lawn. Yep, we're doomed. LaMelo Ball is looked at as an amazing person, very smart and amazing person. No, knucklehead, doesn't respect the game or play the game correctly. Nope. I'm old school like this. Seriously. I have no love for him. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. James is saying LaMelo is too injury prone. See, add that to the list. I didn't even bring that up. That's another part of him that is not attractive right there. Seymour saying beef stew on Memphis now. Confusing move. Yeah. Detroit's dumb. I think Detroit is dumb. I think that Detroit is weird. Like, I don't know what y'all are doing there. You know, you guys were closer to the championship 2 years ago. In some ways, you're going to say, well, we did better this year. Yeah, but you didn't do what you should have done in the playoffs if you had still had Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dennis Schroeder on your side. Instead, Dennis Schroeder was on the other side playing for Cleveland. And you missed those guys. And now you're dismantling some of your core leaders from years on the team, like Beef Stew. No, I don't understand what the hell Detroit is doing. They're screwing up, and they're not going to be at the top of the Eastern Conference this year again. Trust me. If I was a Pistons fan, I would be a little worried about some of the weird stuff they're doing right now. Beef Stew is an essential good player to have. He's a building block towards championships. Sure, maybe he's a little extracurricular in some ways with some of the physicality, and maybe he does get suspended or sometimes he gets an injury, but that man is a leader, and that man is a certain tone, and y'all just traded him to Grizzlies like he doesn't matter to your team. That's stupid, man. I think the Pistons just screwed up. I think they did, and I'm gonna predict it right now. The Pistons are not gonna be anywhere near they were in the Eastern Conference at the top. They're gonna be in the middle, and they may even be a play-in team coming up this season instead of being the top team in the East. Yeah, I'm gonna say that right now. This is not one that makes any sense. Yeah. Reggie's saying, plus he hangs out with adult film people as well. LaMelo. I mean, I don't care about that in some ways. That's something different. It's really just the carelessness and the knuckleheadedness. Like, there's not a lot of intellectual in him. There isn't. It's really kind of like, oh, duh, that's good. I like that. That's stupid. I like that. That's funny and stupid. It's this kind of mentality. It's very lowbrow. It's very like low brain energy working. It's just kind of like, goofy as fuck and very not intelligent. Just not intelligent. I don't think you could have an intelligent conversation with LaMelo where it would be like, wow, I just spoke to somebody who has a brain cell. I think if you talk to him, you'd be like, wow, this guy is dumb as a rock, is what you would be thinking after you talk to him. Seriously. Shaq Lindsay saying Jaden was a lead guard on one of the top teams in college. No fear is his mindset, doesn't shrink in big moments. I like that. There's a lot of parallels there. Arizona was a great team, and he had some good people to throw it to, like Koa Pete. And he was I like some of the passes I saw in the highlights from his year in Arizona. That he is there's a lot of gifted, very crafty, risky passes, but he got them there. We'll just have to see how it lines up with the size and speed of the NBA and how much he can operate there. In some ways, that's the whole thing. He's going to be a project. Man's going to be on 905 this year. You know he will be. Second round picks should be on 905. So we'll just have to see what's going on. Summer League, let's see old Graves and Bradley. Yeah, I'm ready to see these two youngsters. And it was very interesting. You guys notice last night, The Raptors did not add an undrafted player after the draft ended. The pattern the last few years was go get Jamison Battle, go get Chucky Hepburn, go get Justin Champagny, go get Marquise Noel. But none of these signings last night. And Dan was asked this last night. He's like, well, we're still kind of analyzing the undrafted market to look at what is possible. I think that was a bullshit answer. I'm a window assist right now and say they're not going to get an undrafted guy this year. And it's because the roster is already pretty full and they have enough to manage with and deal with already. Also, if they're going to do this whole, we're not going to have one of our roster spots filled again this year, like they did last year on the down low without anybody really talking about it. I'm shocked that Josh Lewinberg, Doug Smith, Michael Grange, Eric Kareen, all the Raptors press never, ever singly once brought up the fact that the Raptors ran the whole entire year last year with an empty roster spot the whole entire season. Nobody said anything about that. I talked about it on this channel. Nobody talked about it in the mainstream media. Are they going to do this again? You know, I don't think if they didn't get an undrafted person last night immediately after the draft ended, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to, guys. I think that there is a possibility for somebody to show up on our summer league roster and go to Vegas and play well and all of a sudden get some sort of offer. You could think Jeff Doughton Jr. or Jamison Battle at summer league doing so well. And then the Raptors say, we want you on a two-way for the season coming up. You know, I could see that maybe happening, but they're not going to sign or get an undrafted guy because they would have done it immediately after the draft ended last night, just like they have the last few years. So that's interesting. That's interesting to me. So anybody who's thinking about the undrafted stuff, it's not going to happen. I don't think. I could be wrong. And maybe Dan it comes back and says, yeah, we've signed this guy as an undrafted this afternoon. But I doubt it. You know, the NIL and different things happening in college basketball are changing the landscape of the waves of how talent comes from the college ranks to the NBA. And even like, you know, they're talking about the NIL's effect on the second round of the NBA right now and what's going on. In some ways, that may be affecting undrafted too. You know, that may be, yeah. Seymour saying this: Tel Aviv owner did not shake hands with Maccabi, who won the finals yesterday. Well, very disgusting behavior. I don't care about this. In some ways, that's a garbage country full of genocidal idiots. If you're a person who's against the genocide, kudos to you. You're one of the good ones. But man, the overall picture of the barbarians and the awful pilfering, raping, and pillaging, stupid ass Israel with their crap. I don't give a shit about their championship or people not shaking hands. Wemby didn't want to shake hands. I don't care if that guy didn't shake their hand either. You know what? There's bigger problems in that country. There's problems with genocidal tendencies of being genocidal people is what the problem is with that country. The problem is that they can't stop killing and massacring Lebanese people, even though it's causing World War III. That's the problem with that country. It's not shaking a hand. Nah. It's the fact that they keep screwing up the Iran deal because they can't stop bombing people. So if we're going to bring up that country, that's all I'm going to bring up. That they're genocidal barbarians, raping and pillaging the Lebanese and Palestinian people. And it's absolutely horrendous and wrong. And one of the worst crimes against humanity that's been happening for a whole long time on the down low in our lifetime. That's what the only thing is correct to say to this statement right here. I don't give a shit about handshakes. Wemby didn't want to shake nobody's hand. That's fine. That's fine. He's an ultimate competitor. And in some ways, they were disrespectful to him. And fuck them. I don't want to shake the Knicks' hands either. Fuck those motherfuckers. That's what I say there, too. Shaq Lindsay's saying this. They say he's probably the best player in the second round. That's awesome. Yeah, I would see this. I could see this. You know, there's some talent there. And maybe he's one of these guys that was a guard that was not that far off from the first round guards, you know, like Fillin and all them. It's like, oh, yeah, well, this guy's not that far off from LeBaron Fillin or whatever his fucking name is. Oh, he's not that far off from Bennett Sturts. You know, he's not exactly Bennett Sturts. He's a different package. But you know what? The talent level and where he's at, it's not that far off, you know. That's what I'm saying. That's why you want value. Some people say best player available. Well, you could also game your draft to think about the picks you have throughout the draft and say, you know what, we could get a value pick there because I'll bet you at 50, we're going to be able to get somebody that nobody else is aware of that is absolutely the best value at that point. And this guy could have actually been maybe a first round pick on certain years in certain ways. That's what I'm saying. That's Bobby Webster. That's Masai Ujiri kind of front office right there. That's it right there. Yeah. Seymour saying LaMelo and Ant laugh out loud. Yeah. Anthony Edwards has problems with maturity. He does. He's yelled dumb things at people in public and got in trouble. He's gotten in his way for being the face of the league because he's not a good role model. Well, you think LaMelo Ball is going to be good as a bird of a feather to flock together with him? No, he's going to be a horrible influence for him. In fact, the NBA may be screwed up because now you're going to have Anthony Edwards, who's one of the darling Americans that's coming up that is a possible budding face of the league, but he doesn't really want it. Well, he's definitely not going to want it now that LaMelo's there. Because honestly, you're going to maybe turn Anthony Edwards into another John Morant with LaMelo Ball around Adam Silver, just so you know, seriously. And you can't afford to do this because good American stars that are young, that aren't knuckleheads, that are actually good marketable stars that you can put on the front cover of ESPN magazine and say, this is the face of the NBA. They're very rare right now. Jason Tatum's getting a little older. And in some ways, he's not really that because people hate the Celtics so much. And the next thing after that may have been Edwards. And Edwards is on the borderline of just falling into like a Zion Williamson, John Morant area. And well, you're going to push him there by having Ball next to him. Talk about immaturity. And that's the thing, man. LaMelo's going they say that you're like the 5 people that are closest to you, right? You're an amalgamation of the 5 people that you're closest to. Well, you didn't want LaMelo Ball close to Anthony Edwards. You're going to trust me. Down the road, you're going to find that out, Adam Silver, that you made a mistake allowing Ball anywhere near Ant-Man. Seriously, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Seymour saying that Al Horford has signed a 2-year, $14 million deal with the Warriors. There's another team that's failing. That's stupid as hell. Their coach and their president's yelling at each other at the draft. And now they've signed dinosaur, ancient ass Al Horford to a 2-year deal. I thought Al Horford retired 2 years ago after the championship with the Celtics. No, he came back. Now he's just stealing money. Seriously. What is this Udonis Haslem bullshit here? You're going to sit him at the end of the bench, barely pay him, and you're going to pay him $7 million a year? This is dumb, man. This is dumb. Maybe Al Horford just wants to keep playing. Well, what are you getting for this? This guy's been around forever. And are you guys actually trying to hand the keys over to the young generation of the Warriors? Or are you just trying to hold on to the glory days of a dynasty that's long gone? Because Al Horford wasn't even really involved in that dynasty hardly. It's like, what is this? This is stupid. Y'all going to hang on to Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Al Horford. Al Horford, of all people, not even Klay Thompson, for so long that you're going to dry up the future for the Warriors for the next 20 years after this. Seriously, that's the problem. Y'all hold on to the past so long, the future dries up. That's right. That's right. The future dries up. Al Horford for 2 years? This man's going to play 2 more years in the league? This is crazy. This is crazy. Warriors fail. I can say this right now. I see a lot of front offices failing left and right and not knowing what the fuck they're doing, obviously, trading so many picks yesterday. Seriously, Shaq Lindsay saying everyone is disappointed that we didn't pick Visar. People need to understand that if Visar fell this far, it's probably not good. Yeah, this is definitely a red flag. And honestly, I think it's just his build. I think it's just that he's got a Chris Boucher build. And in some ways, that's just a really hard way to play in the league, with the league being more physical, getting more towards like FIBA style. The league is becoming more like FIBA. This is intentional. Adam Silver is trying to make the league get more in line with FIBA because he does have this NBA Europe dream. He really does. So he just wants to meet them halfway. So the physicalness of the NBA has gone up. They're allowing way more stuff around underneath the basket with grabbing and holding and physicality. It's kind of great. We love it because it's more like the 90s NBA. It's more like that. The 2010s of the NBA were too cushy and too protective, and in some ways too light and too wimpy. And in some ways, they shut the nuts off of defense for a while. in the NBA? Well, they gave the nuts back to the defense. And then the effect of that, a Willow Reed player that's Willow Reed, like Boucher, who has not found a team yet, and he's going to try and make a team this year. It's the FIBA aspect. And maybe Virsar, even an Estonian man, the man from Europe, can't play in the FIBA style of the NBA because he's going to get pushed around too much. And then maybe the makeup for that. Another guy I would compare Henry to is Brandon Carlson. The man is a lot like Brandon Carlson. And I said the same thing when Carlson was on our team for that brief little period of time before he went to the Thunder and won a championship. He's too skinny. He can get pushed around. He has no strength. He has no ability to hold position because he's too skinny. And there's no center of gravity. Wemby can get away with this because he's 7'5" and he has all these other powers that are bigger. But this is the huge Achilles heel of him also. It's the same thing. Yeah, well, Virsar is not a good NBA player. And I think the people figured that out. They did the calculations in their head and they're like, wow, this guy's really good in college for North Carolina. But will this translate to the NBA? I don't think so. Boom, plummets in the draft. Plummets like 20 plus picks in the draft. Yeah, there's something there. And it's common knowledge, obviously. Clippers are failing. Clippers are idiots. Clippers make mistakes all the time. They got him instead. They got him. I hate saying this about the Estonian kid because I want to believe in him. I would have loved him being on the Raptors. But I'm not upset like other Raptors fans crashing out that we took Jaden Bradley instead. Bobby knows. I trust him. I trust him. I know that Bobby did the right thing. Not going to say that's a lot for LaMelo. I know. That's stupid. Man, don't diss Josh Green. Josh Green was in that deal too. I mean, that is crazy. I feel like Charlotte just fleeced Minnesota. Seriously. I feel like Charlotte just fleeced Minnesota for draft picks, and Minnesota just got way worse just now. Really did. He's a dead end. I'm telling you right now. Trevor J saying last night the Mercury beat the Fever, and the Fever coach losing it on the post-game interview. All right, I did see some of the highlights from what happened in this game last night, and it was dirty as hell. There's a lot of a storyline saying that Caitlin Clark is not respected in the league because she's been put so much in the spotlight, and the old guard, the people around the league, do not appreciate it, and they're taking it out on her in the game physically. Well, I saw evidence of that last night. Alyssa Thomas, a very upstanding, longtime WNBA player, took some very dirty shots, literally like kicked her in the crotch and punched her in the throat and put all her weight down on her. And now Caitlin's hurt. They say she has a back injury. And Stephanie White was pissed last night talking about how they let the Mercury just basically beat up Caitlin Clark. Yeah, this is crazy. I seen it. I don't think they're wrong. I think that was totally dirty what Thomas did. And I don't think there's any place in the league for it. I don't totally necessarily believe in the overhyping of Caitlin Clark, but it's a real thing and it's organic. And it's something that the WNBA should market and lead into because it's smart to. It's dumb to ignore her just because she's so popular. And other players in the league, y'all need to shut up and respect her too because honestly, she's bringing y'all the money that y'all are earning too. In some ways, we can honestly say that Clark and Reese are two of the biggest reasons why the CBA went the way it happened this year and that all the women of the WNBA are getting paid. So get over yourselves, older players in the league that have some sort of grudge or vendetta against either Reese or Clark, and stop doing this to them. You are not enforcers exacting anything. You're on the Phoenix Mercury, and your team sucks. If you're frustrated and you want to work something out on her, I lost a lot of respect for Thomas in that move last night because it's totally uncalled for. She totally was hurt her, and it's not right because, listen, Caitlin Clark is this. She shows up at games, more people buy tickets. And in some ways, the WNBA should protect her like LeBron and Michael Jordan before because they want her out there to perform and be on the court because that will mean more revenue for the league and economics. In some ways, I don't like that whole aspect of sports, but this is a reality of sports. She's a cash cow. And in some ways, they need to protect her. And if there's any kind of like people that are upset about that and they're trying to work out and force her vigilante justice on her, get over yourself. Seriously. And realize that maybe there's a little bit more money in your bank account because of her. Seriously. And I'll say Angel Reese too, because it's the pair of them and the synergy and the phenomena of the attention that they caught coming out of college into the WNBA that brought this momentum and this movement of popularity in the league. So don't bite the hand that feeds you, Alyssa Thomas, even if you played in this league a long time before her and you do not appreciate the spotlight being so shined so brightly on these two young ladies. That's the way I look at it right there. Dirty as hell. And I lost a lot of respect for Alyssa Thomas last night. I really did. Because that play, there's no call for that. The thing on the neck was the worst part. You could put your hand next to her head. You don't need to put it on her. And you're a big woman. You have a lot of weight to you. And she's not as big as you. You could have choked her or hurt her really badly there. You know? So that's what my official reaction is to the Fever Mercury game last night. Normally, I'm not covering every game, but I did see something about this, and I did have an opinion on it. Shaq Lindsay saying this: there was already rumblings of Ant wanting out. Lemon will probably make it easier for him to leave. Maybe that's right. I mean, that's true. This is the thing with Minnesota. You can think Kevin Garnett and the history with him. Spin your wheels in Minnesota. I've been here. Andrew Wiggins, same kind of thing. Get your formative years and then cash out. That's why I'm saying Timberwolves, y'all can't screw around. You got a good coach finally. You got Gobert. You got Anthony. You guys did so good this year. I'm telling you, this was the best version of the Timberwolves ever in their whole entire franchise history last year. And now it's going to be destroyed because Naz Reid's gone. And Naz Reid was one of the most important players on the Timberwolves. And they don't even realize it. Oh, man. If they got LaMelo to make Anthony happy and maybe try and keep him there, that's weird. Or it's like, it could go the other way. Like Shaq Lindsay saying this. It's like LaMelo Ball could be the new superstar for the Timberwolves. You're switching Anthony Edwards for LaMelo Ball. That's a downgrade. That's a downgrade right there. You want to have him there just in case Ant flies a coop, and then you go build a team around LaMelo Ball. What are you trying to do? Beat Charlotte? Like, this is crazy. What has Charlotte done with him and that team? Yeah, this is a mess, man. Minnesota's front office is on crack. Let's just say that. They're on crack, man. Mr. Greg saying it was a split. That's right. It was a split between the Sparks and the Tempo. Let's even it out by getting the win tonight. Let's uneven it out and get the win tonight. Go up. That's right. Naz Reid is a good pickup. Is a great pickup. I would have loved him on the Raptors. He's somebody who was definitely on the green light to come to Toronto. Yeah. Naz Reid is very useful. It's good for Charlotte, but this is the thing. These can be these great players, and they end up on Charlotte, and, well, that's just no man's land. It's not like his career is going to go anywhere from here. Naz Reid just went from competing in the playoffs on a very good Western Conference team to a bottom-dwelling Eastern team that he's just going to spoil and waste away on. That's what happened just now. Yeah. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, I wanted Naz. Maybe Charlotte can recoup some of those draft picks. Let's make a deal. No, they got the draft picks, right? Right? They got the draft picks. Charlotte got the draft picks from Minnesota. Minnesota paid all the draft picks, which is ridiculous. It's crazy. Mr. Greg saying off topic, the Van Golden Eyes averaged over 15,000 a game playing at the Pacific Coliseum. It can't be done. You mean the Valkyries? The Valkyries? I don't know. We're just gonna have to see how it goes. The Tempo brand is doing pretty good. There's a lot of core enthusiasm by people that are really into it right away, people like us. There is some kind of interest from people that are kind of on the fringe saying, oh, I'll go check out that Tempo, but they're not diehards and they're not totally focused on it. And then, the mainstream, everybody else, they may see the Sephora ads around Toronto, may see Temi and Marina up on the billboard, and they may be like, oh, what's that? Well, that's the thing. We got to catch more mainstream attention and mainstream enthusiasm for the Toronto Tempo. And the most surefire way for that in Toronto and in Canada for sports is to win, because Canada fans won't get behind a team until they see that they're successful and it feels good to cheer for them because they feel like a winner. That's why the Raptors blew up after the 2019 championship. There's a lot of people that are sheepish and kind of like, I can't get fully with the Raptors because they're always losing and stuff like that. They're kind of a joke. And then we win the championship, and then there's everybody's got bona fide, like real fandom for them, and they believe in them. So that's part of the key is like, that's why in some ways, even though the Tempo have had these injuries, they need to still win because they're trying to catch fish on the hook right now and hook them into the culture and being a fan. So, these games, NBA and WNBA script writing, the Ottawa Blackjacks fans felt real good after they beat Scarborough Shooting Stars a couple nights ago. And that probably encouraged those fans to come back and buy more tickets. I'm not totally into script writing, but this is part of the reason why home crowd favors should be there because you make the home crowd happy. That experience is nice. They don't go home feeling like losers. They're more likely to come back, right? And home advantage is a real thing, especially with young franchises and young leagues like the Tempo and the CBL. So, we go to Montreal. We play this game that Fiercey's going to go to. We want the Tempo to win that game because we want the fans in Montreal to catch that hook and become hooked as being Tempo fans. In some ways, the game on Saturday at Scotiabank isn't as important because but it would be nice to get a win in that arena too. And it is the Mercury, and we should be able to do it. Fiercey saying, I'm guess the Timberwolves value selling tickets more than getting a cup. Maybe. Is that what it is? It's like, come see the sideshow. Come see the circus freak. LaMelo Ball, circus clown. He's going to come do a cartwheel and then make a shot or something like that. He's going to do some weird underhanded pass that's totally unnecessary, but he does it and the kids go, wow, that's so cool. Yeah, if you want to do and one, go do the mixtape. You can do that on that. You don't need to do it in the NBA in between the professional league. That's what I say. That's my standing on LaMelo right there. That's it right there. Go do an N1 mixtape. You want to be like that. Go hang out with Professor and Escalade and those kind of guys. That's who you should be with, LaMelo. That's right. Not Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. Those guys are serious basketball players. You're not. Let's see. All right, let's see. Smooth saying Charlotte got tired of his off-court stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. You think he's going to get any better when he gets to Minnesota? No, there's going to be the same issues there too. The thing is, this guy's not a young player anymore. It's like we forget LaMelo's been in the league like 6 years now, and he ain't growing up. He ain't getting better. He's spinning his wheels. And, when you have a franchise face or a franchise leader, which he was for Charlotte, that's doing that, well, it was very stark comparison. And this is part of the reason why they traded him. Con Knipple shows up as a rookie last year, and as a rookie, immediately in the first practice, he's a much better franchise leader than LaMelo Ball. Like right away. And Charlotte starts getting respect. Charlotte starts winning games last year because Con Knipple showed up and he brought a level of professionalism and excellence that LaMelo just don't have. And well, Charlotte's like, wow, Con's the guy. We should be building around Con. Forget about Ball. Yeah. Forget about Ball. Kick his ass to Minnesota. That's right. Kick the ball to Minnesota. Boom. It's going to be the same stuff there, though. It's not like he's going to get matured or grown up because there's nobody trying to do this for him. He's just who he is, right? He's just who he is. Reggie's saying Pistons want Norman Powell. Trading Isaiah Stewart sets them up for Norman. That's actually kind of a cool move. Oh, man, I'm going to have to see this. That would mean Norm with Cade. I'm going to have to see this. This is interesting. I know Norman's been feeling it, right? Think about our guy, Powell. He's had such a crazy career in some ways. He's had a very successful career on the overall, but he's also felt disregarded and discarded. He felt that with the Raptors, when he got traded for Gary Trent Jr. to Portland. That was tough because they really did have designs at the time, Fred, OG, Pascal, and Norman, of making their era post Kawhi and trying to win the second Raptors championship with that group, but it wasn't getting anywhere. And Tampa and the pandemic and different things like that screwed that all up. We trade him to Portland. He does pretty good in Portland. He's a good citizen. He does the right things, even though he's brokenhearted. He never wanted to leave Toronto. And it still hurts him to this day but he got over it. Then he goes to Clippers and he builds more off of that. But Portland doesn't value him. They move him to Clippers. And he's there and he plays really good for the Clippers. He flirts with some Six Man of the Year awards, maybe even possibly an All-Star there. Bro, the Clippers don't value him. And they're kind of like, you know what? We're going to trade you to Miami and we're doing this and this. And like, oh man. And Clippers fans were even like disrespectful to him on the way out. He goes to Miami. And it's a perfect spot for Norman to be in. He loves it. He's Heat culture personified with understand the grind. And he fits right in. And he's having a fantastic year. He has his best professional year as an individual last year and gets an all-star. Finally, he's an all-star. He's in Heat culture. He's with Coach Spoelstra, the Miami Heat trade for Giannis, a person that he's intertwined with most of his career. On the Raptors, he kicked Giannis's ass when he was on the Bucks over and over again. Playoff Powell beat up on the Milwaukee Bucks. Every single time we played them, we beat the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks have never beaten the Raptors in the playoffs. And Playoff Powell was a big part of that in a lot of those matchups, including the one where we beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals to go to the finals and win the championship. Well, we beat them in earlier years than that too. And Norman Powell was a key part of that too. So now Giannis shows up, and now Miami's publicly saying that they're not interested in probably keeping Norman, and he's on the market. That hurts. How many teams have now told Norman that we don't want to continue with him? And think about it from this past year, a dream year where he got married and got a kid and got an all-star and is just living the top of his life. But the team that he was in a good spot with and felt like he had a future with has once again pulled the rug out from underneath him. He posted something a couple days ago of stoicism, Marcus Aurelius, saying that, you know, during the things that you cannot control, what you want, control what you can. And he's trying to be stoic in this situation. But I think his heart's been broken once again. That, you know, Miami was a great setup for him. He felt like he was that DNA and that culture of Miami Heat culture. But they're not valuing him. Once again, a team is not valuing him. He's one of these guys in the league that's kind of just a journeyman. He's in some ways, he's a guy who's just in some ways a part of trade filler or just a bargaining chip or a chip to trade here and there. And it sucks. I hope that he goes wherever he goes and he has major success and he feels fulfilled and happy. But shame on Miami Heat for casting him aside just because they got Giannis. Maybe Giannis is like, I don't want to play with Norman. I have PTSD when I'm around him. I lost a lot to him. You got to understand, it's nothing personal. I like his game. He's probably a nice guy. But if I'm around Norman, I'm going to feel bad because I have so many bad memories. Just trust me. Okay, we'll get rid of Norman for you, Greek freak. Don't worry. We're just happy you're here in South Beach. Is that the way this shit went down? Seriously. Because I could see it being kind of like that, you know? In some ways, Norman Powell may very much have the antithesis player for his career at the end is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah. Yeah. That antithesis player. Yeah, well, Norman, at least you can say you beat his ass every time you played him in the playoffs, even if he's running you out of Miami, a place that you want to be. Yeah, I was thinking about this pretty deeply because I want to think about things from the perspective of our great Raptors. And Norman Playoff Powell is always going to be a great Raptor. That's for sure. Yeah. I hope he lands on his feet and he gets up there. You know, coach of the Pistons, JB Bickerstaff's very vocal right now. He's the head of the Coaches Association for the NBA, and he's very disappointed in the contract that Portland's given Micah Nori to be the coach this year. The thing is, right now we're hearing that it's scant. It's like the lowest you can pay a coach. Like they're underpaying him. And JB Bickerstaff doesn't like this trend. It's like, is this a new trend where coaches are going to be even more underpaid and undervalued and more disposable? Part of his problem with it is that you're cutting the power of the coach off by showing that the players that they're expendable. How do you expect the coach to coach a team with respect and the team bought in and listened to them when the team actually realizes that the coach is on a tenuous, very, very stressful edge that they could fall off and just be failure right away? It's not a good recipe for things. In some ways, Portland's not trying to win right now, obviously, if they're trying to cheap out like this. And in some ways, it's already a very bad situation for Micah Nori, and he hasn't even started yet. Because they said he's criminally underpaid that this owner is so cheap. He's paying him way below what he should, and the coaches union is pissed because they don't want this to be starting to set a standard. So that's an interesting little story that's going on right now in the NBA with the coaching and Micah Nori right there. Yeah, it's interesting. Let's see. Reggie's saying, I still think it's the Lakers for Powell, though. Although with Reeves returning, I might be wrong. I haven't really heard anything about rumors for Norman to go to LA. I did hear about the DeMar thing. They're looking to trade DeMar DeRozan right now. And if they can't get anything for him, they'll cut him and let him become a free agent in August. Former Raptors trying to figure out their spots in the musical chairs that is the NBA offseason. Yeah, we'll just have to see where these guys land. I just wish the best for them. I care about Norman and DeMar immensely, and I just want them to be happy and just have the best lives that they possibly can. DeMar's been able to make the best out of every situation since the Raptors, and I appreciate him for being like that and being professional and being that way. In some ways, I really do believe DeMar deserves a winning situation this year in the NBA on a team that has a chance. He really does deserve that. That's the way I feel. That's right. That contract with Austin Reeves is ridiculous. I'm just going to say that. G's saying this. Nimari Burnett signed a 10-day with the Raptors. He comes from Michigan basketball. All right, G's got breaking news. Let me go look at this real quick and see if Blake Murphy's on it or anybody. Did anybody talk about this yet? Nobody's put it up here. All right, I'm going to go look on Reddit and see if it's somewhere around there because nobody's talking about this. And I'll have to see who this guy is. Maybe this is our scout of the day because I don't know who this is. Yeah, see, here's one of these dumb Raptors Redditor posts. I guess the hardest part of being a Raptors fan is during the offseason and free agency. Come on, do something. See, you just want a dopamine hit. I once again will say teams that don't do a whole lot in free agency and stuff like that means they're doing their job well and they don't have to. That's what I'll say to that. There's a post on Reddit where Brian Windhurst was doing an interview after the draft, and he said the person that he enjoyed talking to the most at the NBA draft was Alan Graves of Santa Clara. That Brian Windhurst enjoyed talking to him like he had the coolest personality. Yeah, there's some cool stuff. I'm following Alan on Instagram, and he has a post that he does every day where he does scripture. Like he was quoting Deuteronomy this morning on his Instagram, and it's like he starts it out, and he's like me. He's got a streak. He's like day 742. This is today's scripture, and then he reads it on his Instagram. So if y'all want a daily dose of scripture with Alan Graves, well, you can get that because this man's quoting Bible quotes on his Instagram and talking about them on there. But yeah, apparently Brian Windhurst thinks he's the most interesting player that he talked to at the draft. I get that feeling from him too. All right, I don't see the official news anywhere on this. I'm not going to dispute what G is saying, but I do not see it anywhere. Maybe I'll go look at them real quick. Nimari Burnett signed a 10-day with the Raptors. I'm going to say this right now. That 10-day is for Summer League roster. That's all this is. This is not a undrafted pickup. This is not somebody who's going to be on our team for sure. This is somebody who's coming to Vegas to be on our Summer League roster is what this name is right here. And just to clarify things. So yeah, Nimari Burnett. Now they signed the 10-day and then they waive them, and then they're eligible to be on the Summer League team. So let's go look at Nimari Burnett real quick. Wikipedia, December 20th is his birthday, and he is 24 years old. He's from Chicago, Illinois, and he was on the Michigan Wolverines. So he won the championship with Yaxel and Morez and Mara this year. So he's one of those guys. He's a 4-star recruit. Yeah, okay. So Burnett was on that Michigan team. See, I don't know. I didn't watch the tournament. I'm so bad. All right, let's go look at Nimari Burnett, invitee to the Raptors Summer League team for Vegas. So let's see, Nimari Burnett. Let me see. All right, let's see the highlight reel. Scout of the day. We are going to do a scout of the day. Look at that. All right, let's see. Let's look at him in the February the 5th game against Penn State. He got 31 points and 5 rebounds. That's a pretty good, impressive stats for being on a team so stacked with people like Yaxel in them. All right, which one is he? He's number Namari is number 4 or something like that. Yeah, number 4. All right, let's see. Okay, here he is on the wing. He's got a nice corner 3. Not well in the pocket. It's in the over there. That's not bad. He had a nice form. Let's see. He's got the ball. That's a cut. Oh, no, wait. He was the offensive rebound dump off. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a nice play. Nice finish through contact at the rim. Let's see, where is he? He's over in the corner. So he's kind of playing weak side, and he's kind of the relief guy on this offensive scheme here. Wow. Okay, so he beat his defender around him at the baseline. That's a little risky. You step out, but he beat him and he dunked it. That was Lopez that he beat. It looked like that was no, that wasn't Lopez. All right, here we go. Moving the ball around. There's a nice first step and getting around. He likes to get a first step around people and then elevate and throw it down. I don't know how much he'll be able to do that in the NBA. He's got a nice body too, very athletic, nice muscle. He's obviously like a point guard, not a point guard, shooting guard, small forward. He's like a wing. He's a slasher. All right, here they are in transition. He's on the outside lane and he runs to the basket. Yeah, he likes to go to the basket. There's a lot of finishing at the basket. A lot of these plays, I'm not seeing him taking shots. So here's a corner 3, though. That's a nice shot. Nice catch and rhythm and putting it up. Okay, so he's going to be kind of a 3-4, a 2-3 on the team. I don't know. I don't see he's not a point guard. I don't see him making a lot of passes and setting people up. He's more shooting and attacking the rim. There's another 3 right there. Yeah, he seems all right. He seems like he's got good muscle and good strength already. And well, we'll have to see him at Summer League. It may be one of these things where he can catch on, and I'd say the odds of that are not very likely, is what I would say. So at least he's got the Summer League invite, is what it looks like. Namari Burnett. Yeah, okay. Neil's looking at it. Let's see. G's saying this now. 7 picks. Common now, Wolves. Come on now, Wolves. Come on now, Wolves. Common now, Wolves. You have 2 high usage, ball dominant players now. Ant needed a pass first point guard, in my opinion, but oh well, not our problem. Yeah. These front offices want to screw up their teams worse this summer. That's fine. See, that's part of it, Raptors Nation. Y'all can be pushing for moves and free agency and trades and all kinds of stuff to the detriment of us actually building towards the championship. And some of these front offices start listening to the fans too much and their impetus to like trade, do this, do this. And then they overdo it and they screw up their team. They actually get off track with the progress and the building that they've done. I think Minnesota has done this now. I think that Detroit's in dangerous of this now. You know, there's teams that are failing right now, right in front of us. And if you really look at it clearly, you can see what I'm talking about. So I'd rather stand pat, be careful where we step, and very much analyze and be very, very, very thoughtful in what we do than just do things willy-nilly just for the sake of doing things. That's what Raptors casuals and nephews need to understand in our fan nation is that moves for the sake of moves are usually bad. You want to only do moves because it makes sense and it will help you. If you're just saying, no, I want moves because I'm in the middle of summer, I'm bored, and I want something to feel excited about, well, that's your own trained dopamine rushed head that's causing this whole thing in yourself. And it's not the right way to run a team. Thank God that our team has been run this way for 13 years and everybody's so upset about it. I'd rather y'all be upset than the Raptors making poor moves over and over again just because y'all are crying out for it like a baby crying for the milk bottle. Seriously, it's not the right move. That's a horrible trade by Minnesota today. Absolutely horrible. And you're going to see it next year. I'm very bold with my predictions, and I'm very often correct with the trajectory of teams. And Minnesota just shot themselves in the foot. And they're going to be way worse than they were last year. And Detroit's going to be the same, too. Watch. I'm going to call it right now for both those teams that they're going to be not as good as they were last year. They're definitely not. They're on the way down. Yep. Let's see. Smooth saying Warriors have money to burn, man. Jimmy Butler missing most of the next year, also, by the way. Yeah, I don't care about the Warriors. Like I said, they need to transition to their new era. The Lakers and the Warriors have the same problem. They need to get away from their older players and move to the next era. But the older players are still there and they're holding them back from moving to the next era. The Warriors will waste so much time trying to build their new era and not get anywhere just to fulfill the rest of the career of Draymond Green and Steph Curry. And LeBron, same thing, and the Lakers. So they're not ready to turn the page and go to the next chapter. They're gonna pay for it in the long run. Watch. They're gonna pay for it. That's right. Trevor J saying this because next season it will be NBA Euro League. Next season there will be. There's no guarantee of this, and it's not for sure yet. There's nothing they have said for sure. In some ways, it may fall through still, but there is also the groundwork being laid for established European teams to join an NBA league. And in some ways, the marriage of that with the NBA will possibly have the ability to have their champion from that to play the NBA champion, which is great. I think that whole kind of concept works. I just have a problem with the NBA being like predatory capitalist and invading a market of basketball in Europe just to get a slice of the pie and maybe ruining some of the traditional systems that are in those countries already that work really well already without the NBA being involved. Adam Silver is just really wants to be involved in that market no matter what. Honestly, if he's not reading the room right, there's an anti-American backlash in Europe right now. And that could be a part of the factor that makes this fail miserably economically in certain ways. Now he's building into it that it won't fail because he's going to bring in established teams that have very devout fan followings that some of them may be like, fuck this, I don't want to have anything to the NBA and you're dead to me. But there will be a lot of people that are loyal that will just go along with it and go through into it. But this could fail. This could fail because I'm telling you right now, the orange pedophile is making everybody hate the United States, and business with the United States is at an all-time low around the world globally. People are cutting business ties with that country right now, more and more, especially this country that I live in right here in Canada. And Adam Silver trying to expand into Europe when America is the least popular it's ever been in the history of mankind is actually kind of dumb business. If you really think about it logically, it's really dumb. This is like Vince McMahon XFL kind of dumb shit, World Football League dumb kind of shit. Yeah, is what I'm saying. So yeah, even if they start doing it, there's no guarantees it'll be successful. And this may be the biggest failure of Adam Silver's life, this NBA EuroLeague, guys. G saying Mercury played dirty ball, not looking forward to playing them. I look forward to playing them because they're a team that we can beat their ass. And we'll play them on Saturday. I don't give a shit. Alyssa Thomas with her stuff. I thought that you were better than that. Seriously, you're like an old vet that I was like, man, she seems cool. She's been putting in that time. But after seeing that footage, I'm like, there's no place in basketball for what she did. There's no place in basketball for that. I want to play them because we can beat them. So we can play Mercury every day of the week. I don't care. So we can beat them. Alyssa Thomas is the same person that chokeslammed Angel and caused Fee to have a season-ending injury. She is an Embiid and Green combo. Okay, well, I thought that she was just got a reputation for being tough because she's like tough, like Oakley. Well, she's a little dirty and extra too. Yikes. Yikes. Well, I'm learning more about this league every day. That's right. Kaz saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Visar was selected by the Clippers, but the pick was traded to the Hawks. Okay, so see, I can't keep this all track. So Henry is going to Atlanta and he'll be on the Hawks this year. Well, that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. Maybe my brother will go down there to the Hawks game and see the big Estonian player playing in the league. That's kind of cool. So he's on the Hawks. He's in Atlanta. Interesting. See, I don't care. I didn't pay attention to any of that trade garbage that's going on last night. It's too much. Let's see. Mr. Greg saying, no, I meant the PWHL team. So there's proof that women's sports will be supported. Oh, I don't know that team's name. I do not pay attention to hockey in the least. I couldn't name 3 Leaf players on the team currently right now. Seriously, that's how out of the loop. I'm so tunnel vision focused on the Raptors, the tempo, and our Toronto teams. I don't even pay attention to other teams in the leagues as much in some ways, but I'm damn for sure not paying attention to PWHL. I don't even know the team names or anything about that league, so that's why. That's why I don't. Like I said, I can't name 3 Maple Leafs. I can not name 3 Blue Jays. I don't know any of their team. I know Vlad Guerrero Jr. That's about it. I know Austin Matthews. That's about it. I don't know any of the other players on those 2 teams. This is how much I love basketball, and I'm just into NBA and Raptors. I don't care. I'm not watching the Leafs. I'm not watching the Blue Jays. I have no idea who their teams are. So that, yeah, I think that women's sports is growing, Mr. Greg, for sure. And that's why a lot of people are being smart and investing in it right now. You know, the return on what Larry Tannenbaum invested to get the tempo is already paying him back immensely. And it's really kind of the smart timing of it. We got the franchise here in Toronto, and we allowed people to buy into the ownership group right at the beginning. And then the CBA happened after that, and the valuation of the tempo skyrocketed. And everybody who bought in as an owner before the CBA was signed, they are already made a profit. Already. Like the tempo is paid off for the ownership investors because the valuation of the team went up after the CBA, which was really smart. Let's see. Trevor J saying Jaden Bradley and IQ on the floor together and Shed. Who you going to stop from beating you up the floor? Well, we're not going to play all 3 of them at the same time. That's a detriment. We're not going to play 3 point guards at once. That doesn't make no sense, Trevor. Like, that's ridiculous. Maybe pick 2 of them, 2 out of 3 at each time. I don't really think Jaden Bradley is going to be anything for our team overall in the long run. I think he's going to be here for a cup of coffee for a couple years. He's going to be interesting, but I think that he's not going to be taken to the league. I think that that's going to happen. Once again, I'm going to say prove it. Make your spot in the league like Fred VanVleet because you ain't got nothing promised to you. And so many people get drafted in the second round that are like 2 years and then they're out. So I'm not predicting this for him. I seen what's in Shed, and I like what's in Shed. And I already like what we've established and built with Shed. In some ways, if we're going to compete with both of them, I want Shed to win by the end. And Jaden Bradley is not totally necessary for this team, other than to be a guy trying to run up behind Shed and push Shed further and get him along faster. That's it right there. I don't see long term for Jaden Bradley on our team, guys. I really don't. I really, really don't. But prove me wrong, Jaden Bradley. If you're tuning into the Raptors Freak and you hear what I'm saying, you don't like it. Just like I say to Elijah Martin, I don't see you being on this team for a long time either. And well, prove me wrong. That's the best way to motivate these guys. Because this is what people have told them all along. You're not going to make the NBA. Well, guess what? Jaden Bradley just got drafted to the NBA. So you're wrong. So, all right, prove me wrong. This is the best way to motivate these guys who are on the cusp, on the fringe, like Elijah Martin and Jaden Bradley and Chucky Hepburn. Y'all prove me wrong. You want to be Raptors for a long time? You want to stick? You want to be here? Prove me wrong. But I don't believe in y'all. I don't. I believe in Walter. I believe in Shed. I believe in Colin. I believe in Allen. But I don't believe in y'all. Y'all got to go do stuff to make your spot earned for years to come. Because I don't see it. I don't see it out of any all 3. Maybe Chucky is the best chance, honestly. And that's only because he's got amazing stealing skills. Amazing stealing skills. We're going to be reminded of that about Chucky Hepburn when we see him in Vegas in a month from now. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Trevor J. Oh, I read that one. Morning, everyone from Kaloy. Good morning to you, Kaloy. Thank basketball gods they did not give us LaMelo. I don't think Bobby's dumb enough to do this. Seriously. Like I've said, if Bobby Webster made a big trade and he got a knucklehead on this team, like some of these people have been trying to get on our team, like James Harden, John Morant, Kevin Durant, LaMelo Ball, I would be like, fire Bobby. Fire Bobby. If Bobby had traded for LaMelo Ball yesterday, I would have said we need to fire Bobby. I hate this because I don't want to. I think Bobby is great overall, but this is a sign that he's fucked up and he's not doing his job right. If he had traded to get LaMelo Ball yesterday, seriously, there's certain guys on a list. I'm like, don't even waste your time bringing them around here. And I just named them: Harden, Durant, Morant, Zion, yeah, Trey Young, LaMelo Ball. These are all guys that are dead ends, and we do not want on our team. Trust me, right there. That's right. Thank the basketball gods, Kaloy. Kaz is saying we may be able to pry Naz away from Charlotte. They're stacked in the front court. Steinbach, Diabate, Kalkbrenner, Grant Williams. I don't even know why you put him in that list. He doesn't belong. Tijani Saloon, Xavier Tillman Sr. Well, it depends on who they covet and who may be more available. It's probably Xavier Tillman and Diabate maybe. I don't know. Diabate actually had a really good year last year, and they probably covet him. But I don't know if it's Naz Reid that they would make available or something like that. Naz Reid maybe like Anthony Davis say, "What the fuck? I'm not going to Charlotte. Y'all need to turn around and trade me once again." That may be true right there. That's right. Seymour saying Bobby sure loves them Carolina products. Bobby loves Carolina products. Is that where Jaden Bradley's from? Because I didn't think he's from Carolina. I think he's from Chicago, isn't he? I don't know. Is he from there? Seriously? I don't know. Let me look at this. He's from New York. He's from New York, but he went to high school in Carolina. He went to college in Alabama, and then he went to Arizona. And he also went to high school in Bradenton, Florida at IMG Academy. But he's born New Yorker. He's a New York point guard, Jaden Bradley. And I guess his family moved to North Carolina when he was in elementary school. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's a North Carolina guy. Maybe just because he was raised there. Maybe. I mean, I guess. I don't know. He's a New York guy. Let's see. Seymour saying, ain't he from Hawaii? No, he's from New York. I don't want Miles Turner, so basketball guys, keep up the blessings. Yeah, I don't either. I don't think that I think that Raptors fans that think that Miles Turner is an upgrade from Jakob Poeltl are crazy. They're absolutely crazy. That is not an upgrade. Trust me, because Poeltl actually holds presence, and Turner has lost it as he's gotten into this stage of his career. In some ways, Miles Turner is just a glorified three-point shooter at this point. And in some ways, he's not really giving you anything in the right places otherwise. Maybe some rebounding here and there, but not really the right things. He's not a good defensive player. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. Seymour saying Heat want LBJ or Kawhi. They want LeBron or Kawhi, and they're gonna put him with Giannis. Like they're trying to do this thing again. That's what they're trying to do down there. And maybe they'll consider Bam to be Bosch this time. And they want to do this again. So they want to get Kawhi or LeBron and pair them with Giannis, these madmen. The Miami Heat are allowed to do this crazy stacking shit that they did, the South Beach decision. Again, like what, 15 years later, you're going to try and do it again? Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra, and Pat Riley. Well, let's see if they're successful. Well, it's way older. You want thank you for being a friend, Golden Girls, and get the whole retirement home together, Dorothy. Yeah, yeah. Rose is in the back, and Blanche is in the bedroom. What's going on here? Y'all trying to collect the Golden Girls down in Miami? Go ahead. Why don't you get Steph too while you're at it? Get Steph and LeBron and pair him with Giannis. Everybody's like, that'd be amazing, Lex. Yeah, that'd be very old too. And in some ways, it'll be what it's supposed to be, like the Warriors in the last couple of years. That's what it'll look like. That's right. Seymour saying, how do we have the budget for this? I don't know how they have the budget for that. Trying to put all those guys together. And man, it could be a big, huge fail. This kind of energy is kind of like the Lakers scrambling with Karl Malone, Gary Payton, and Steve Nash kind of shit. That's what this energy is like. Seriously, it's scrambling. It's scrambling. Kaz is saying 2-finger salute to Ed Rogers, but every time I hear about Blazers owner, I know we don't have the worst one. They're all cutting corners in weird ways, in different weird ways. I'm telling you. But the Portland one's the most egregious, obviously. Part of it is it's a switch, just like with Rogers taking over our teams. It's a switch because the Allen family was a very good ownership family. And sadly, Paul Allen died a couple years ago, and the rest of the family were kind of holding on to the asset, but their hearts weren't into it, and they weren't really running it well, not running it with oversight. But when Paul was alive, they really kept that team right, and they took care of it right financially. But this guy who just bought this team, it's just a symptom of corporate takeovers and new owners trying to maximize profits and just being very corporate mentality with really messed up ways to cut corners just to make profits. And that's what this is in Portland. It's the epitome of the sickness of corporate margin increasing by cutting corners and shortcuts and value. The product, the product is at a detriment. The value of a Portland Trailblazers fan and the product they're getting is going down because that all gets past the consumer. Everything, shrinkflation at the grocery store, all the dirty tricks that corporate people and boardrooms decide this is going to make our profits better for this quarter. All that shit hurts the consumer and the value of the product that they sell in a dirty, underhanded way. And well, this is just a very visible mode of it that you can see in the Portland Trailblazers and their hierarchy with their franchise. You can see this. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Smooth saying this LeBron not leaving the Lakers unless it's the Cavs, in my opinion. I could see him going back to Miami too, though. I could. I could see him going back to Miami too. There is an outside shot. He goes to Golden State also. Let's just say that. Kaloy saying, laughing my ass off. Nephews in the Raptors Reddit bitching about not having any trades. I know. It's ridiculous. Like, what are y'all? Y'all need to have the shiny toy. You can get in the crib and we'll have it hanging over you. And you can play with the little mirror and the little star and the thing that rolls. Yeah, Kaloy knows. He has little kids. He has this thing at his house. This is how he keeps his kids occupied. Put them in the crib and put them underneath the thing, that roly thing, and the shaker and all that stupid shit that makes noise and shiny things that keep you entertained. Is this what y'all need, baby Raptor fans, little children? I need something to preoccupy me. Okay, we'll put you in the crib and we'll let you spin the spinny thing. Okay, yeah, that should be good for y'all. Seriously. Let's be adults here, not toddlers, nephews, and Raptors Reddit. Come on now. Reddit is 70% casuals. Oh, for sure. In some ways, because I've turned my back on Facebook, I do like to get news. I'm using Reddit for it, but I do see all the bullshit in there. And I do realize just how toxic and stupid it is in there too. But also, part of the reason why I'm doing the Redditor of the day is because I want to influence better posts there. And I'm like rewarding people that I feel like make worthwhile posts every day on Toronto Tempo and Toronto Raptors Reddit. That's why I do that segment now, is because if some of the people, I don't think any of them are watching me, but maybe some of them do. And they're like, whoa, Kaz on Reddit. It's like, whoa, the guy made me the Redditor of the day. I want to encourage good posts and I want to discourage the shitty ones. So I put on blast the good ones to try and influence. These are the kind of posts y'all should be making on Raptors Reddit. That's kind of why I'm doing that segment now. This new segment that I've been doing this past year, that kind of is the change from Instagram stories to Raptors Redditor of the day. That I need to put new segments in if I'm turning my back on Facebook and Instagram and not really utilizing them or encourage them on my show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's see. The shit people say in there is insane, man. Yeah, some of it is really ridiculous. And once again, some of it is not for people that are actually who they're saying who they are. That's the way it is on everything online. Anonymous, catfishing, misrepresentation, stuff like that. Kaloy saying Naz Reid for LaMelo is crazy. Minnesota is fucking up real bad. At this point, Bradley Beal has more accolades than Ball. Laughing my ass off. Ha ha ha. Well, Bradley Beal had a full career, and he did have some good stuff. Like he did do some stuff in the playoffs here and there, and he did have some individual accolades. Yeah, so this is true. He does have a better career than LaMelo Ball in some ways. But yeah, Minnesota fucked up. They totally did. Ghost is back. Good morning to Ghost. Good to see you, Ghost, back in the chat this morning. Morning, Canadians. This is what he's saying. Y'all ready on the NBA draft? Y'all ready on the NBA draft? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was happy with the picks. I like both of them. I think that Bradley has some promise, and we'll just have to see where he fits into the hierarchy of the players that we've got. And well, can he make some room? Can he get somewhere? Will he be anywhere near any rotation minutes or any time on the Raptors court? We'll have to see. I'm not guaranteeing it or seeing it myself, because there's other guys that are much better ahead of him that are already established a little bit more in our program. But we'll see. Maybe he's a star. Maybe he's a quick learner. Maybe he's undeniable, and he will get some parts carved out for himself, because that's what this is. You've got to earn it. You've got to go out there and make yourself so attractive to play that Darko and Bobby and whoever's coaching 905 will be playing you. That's what I'm saying. But I expect a huge dose of G League for Jaden Bradley, and he should be running that team this year. They should make it his kit and caboodle, where he is. That's his show. That's your place. That you're going to show what kind of leader you are, and the win record of the Raptors 905 this year will be a direct indicator of the floor general and the leader that you are, Jaden Bradley. That's right. In some ways, that should have been Chucky Hepburn last year, but he got hurt. Elijah Martin, once again, he's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard with a point guard's body, and that's a detriment to him immediately, right away. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Kaloy's saying this. Imagine going all in on LaMelo thinking he's the missing piece. I thought front offices needed to get smarter because of the anti-tanking and new CBA. But this and the new Trae Young contract, it seems some are still dumb. Now get us a backup, Bobby. Get us a backup big. No, there are bad up front offices. There's definitely. It's just like there's going to be good and bad teams in the league. Well, there's going to be good and bad front offices. And Raptors fans, just be thankful that we've had a good front office since Masai showed up in 2013. We really have. We've had a very good front office for 13 years now. And it shows in the stuff we cultivate and we build through our systems and where we get to and how quickly we rebuild back to being a team that's contending from being a team that was dead in the water at the bottom of the standings. So we have a very good front office. Milwaukee's one of the worst. It looks like Minnesota's one of the worst now. Portland's really bad. Charlotte's really bad. There's a lot of bad front offices. Washington, there's a lot of bad front offices. I would even say Phoenix is a bad front office. There's a lot of bad front offices. Just trust me here. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying Tillman has too many DMPs everywhere he goes. Well, Xavier Tillman Sr., he's like a utility big, like Jonathan Mobo. He's there for fouls. He's not going to give you a whole lot of other stuff in some ways. He's just there for a big body to take up space that can run up and down the court. And he's not really, in some ways, he's a borderline NBA player. Let's just put it that way. He's a borderline, even being in the league kind of player, All right, so let's see. I've got some stuff on my tabs I want to do real quick. Let's go over this CBL game last night. Saskatoon Mamba visiting Edmonton Stingers. And we had a good crowd there last night. 115-108 for Edmonton, beating Saskatoon. Saskatoon had the better record, but it was a big game for the Stingers. And the leader of the team was Nick Hornsby, the captain, getting 25 points and 11 assists, double-double. And then Emmanuel Bandamel got 25 points also on 10 of 17 shooting with 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Those were the two leading scorers. 18 points for Stanley Davis Jr. off the bench. In the losing effort on the other side, 20 points for Tevion Jones in the starting lineup. Also 18 for DeJuan Gordon off the bench. But yeah, a big win for Edmonton over a Western Conference opponent and rival Saskatoon Mamba. CBL action's fantastic. Check it out tomorrow night. There's no game today. Unfortunately, nothing to watch tonight, but tomorrow there will be a game in Montreal. Niagara River Lions will go there. The two-time champions facing off with the Montreal Lions. So two teams that are kind of in the middling teams right now. Niagara versus Montreal. That is the next game on the CBL docket, and that will be tomorrow night at 7:30 at Verdun Auditorium. So yeah, that's that. All right, let's keep going. Y'all, I got my straight goods on Canadian goods. In the heart of potato country, Cover Bridge Potato Chips is a 4th-generation family business located in Heartland, New Brunswick, home to the longest covered bridge in the world. In the surrounding St. John River Valley, known as Canada's potato country, lies farms where they grow their dark russet potatoes that give their chips their traditional golden brown color. We believe simple ingredients and unique flavors are the recipe for this. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I'm a huge supporter of Covered Bridge. I love their chips, man. And in fact, I got a bag of their all dressed chips right here that look, I've been eating them from yesterday already. Crinkle cut and all dressed, and they're fantastic. Let's do a little taste test real quick. You can see this a little chip. Let me get a bigger one. So you're going to see the ridges and the flavor of the all dressed flavoring. You guys love all dressed, right? It's a Canadian thing. The Tempo players came up and like, what is all dressed chips? And Isabel Harrison tried it and she liked all dressed. I find that people like all dressed. But yeah, these are great chips. You don't want Frito-Lays. You don't want American corporate chips. Get a Canadian company. Cover Bridge potato chips is 100% Canadian. And you buy this chip, you eat this chip, you're getting more jobs. You're getting more money into our economy. Staying here instead of siphoning off all this money we spend on corporate American products like Coca-Cola and McDonald's, and that shit just goes to their country. You want to be elbows up the right way? Listen, I don't want to ever fight nobody in a war, but if we have to, I will. But this is the way you do it. You support a Canadian industry. And Cover Bridge is your best chips choice right now. I'm telling you right now. You love them, Kaz? You love the Cover Bridge? They're good. And they have all the flavors. You know, sour cream and onion, ketchup, barbecue, all dressed, salt and vinegar. They got all the flavors. So get your Cover Bridge chips today. And they're not paying me to do this. I'm doing this because I'm a proud Canadian. And I really, truly believe this is something that Canadians need to be doing more, is buying Canadian products and stop buying the American one just because it's in your face and you've always bought it and it was familiar. Stop buying stuff from Walmart. Stop going to these stores and start buying from Canadian stores and buying Canadian products. And if I can bring some awareness to some of the different companies, I will on this channel, just like I did for Cover Bridge. That's right. There you go. There's your straight goods on Canadian goods. Cheers. Yeah, Cover Bridge is fantastic. The chips are high quality and they're always tasty and a great snack to eat during a basketball game, like watching Canadian Elite Basketball League. That's what I'll do, is eat the Cover Bridge while I'm watching them. That's right. All right, let's see. As I said earlier, the ESPN matchup predictor is saying for tonight that we have a 43% chance to beat the Sparks on our own home court. I just don't get that. Where do you get that number from? That's weird. Let's see. Guys, we got some birthdays to do real quick. First of all, I want to say a happy birthday to the father of one of the MVPs of the league and a former Raptor. And if his son came to play for us, it would be a legacy move, and it would be a very interesting one. And that is Wardell Stephen Curry Sr. That is Dell Curry's birthday today. So happy birthday to Dell. He's actually 62 today. So happy birthday, Dell. And, well, he played for the Raptors for 3 years, 194 games in a Raptors jersey. He started 14 of those games, and he averaged almost 7 points per game on the Raptors. He shot 44% from three while he was in a Raptors jersey. So we love Dell Curry from the Vince Carter era of the Raptors. And it is Dell's birthday today. So happy 62nd birthday to the father of Steph Curry, Dell Curry. That's right. Also, huge birthday today. And most people don't know it's his birthday right now, but it is his birthday today. I can confirm this. And we got to say happy birthday to the voice of the Raptors, Matt Devlin. It's Matt Devlin's birthday today, y'all. So, yeah, all the way from out in the Greenbelt, from this guy to you, Matt Devlin. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to the voice of the Raptors. You supplanted Chuck Swirsky, and in some ways, you have made us forget about Chuck Swirsky to a degree, and we love you, Matt. In the beginning, it was tough because we were used to Chuck, but over time, you have truly become the voice of the Raptors, and it is just patented at this point. The calls during the championship run and a lot of the other stuff just it solidified this. You guys know that Matt Devlin became a Canadian citizen the year that we won our championship. He was in the process of becoming a Canadian citizen, and he became a Canadian in 2019. Also, that Matt Devlin is from Syracuse. So much like Leo, he's from that area of New York, up in northern New York. So yeah, we love the Devlin family, all of his sons and his wife. And happy birthday, Matt. Thank you for doing what you do for the Raptors and the culture and your call. That's right. RJ kidding me? That's right. Mamu said, knock you out, Matt Devlin, on your birthday. So happy birthday. Yeah, Matty D. That's right. That's a big one right there. That's right. Kaz is saying bonus, the bags are smaller so you can eat the bag in one shot. Yeah, but I think that the bags of other chips are smaller too. It's all shrinkflation. Like if you go get a Ruffles bag, it's going to be the same amount of chips in it too. It's just you're having, we remember it the way it used to be. Everything's shrinking. You're getting less value for what you pay for, more and more. And they just cut corners, and they do it underhandedly. You can look at it with chocolate bars. Go get a chocolate bar and look how they shrunk compared to what they were like, I don't know, 5 years ago even. It's crazy. Shrinkflation is real, and the prices go up, and you get less for what you pay for, more and more as time goes on. It's just really bad, really, really bad. Kaz is saying happy birthday to Matty D, and he's got this saying, "Oh gee, oh my." There you go. Did you miss the classic card? No, it is coming up very shortly. Yeah, we're about 5 minutes for 2 hours. Let's get it done. This is good. We'll get done right on time. All right, here it comes, Seymour. You just got here right on time. All right, let's see. Okay, yeah. We've done this guy recently, I think. Or at least I remember him in the last 6 months. Okay, this is a tough one. We'll see who knows their stuff. Because this one's a little tough. I would know who this is if I did this, but here, we'll see. All right, classic card of the day. It is not the player in the back, it's the player in the front in the Orlando Magic jersey. So who knows who that player is from Classic NBA? Yeah, I think that one guy behind him is Gerard Mustaf. I think. I'm guessing. That may be completely wrong. Kind of looks like Mustaf from way back. But I want the Orlando player. Do y'all know who that Orlando Magic player is? This is an original Magic player. Reggie thinks it's Stanley Roberts. No, Stanley Roberts of LSU, who played with Shaquille O'Neal, is bigger than this. He's a much bigger guy than this guy. This guy is a power forward, though, but Stanley Roberts was a center, and he was much more overweight than this guy, too. But that's a good guess. Seymour has no clue. No clue. You're unloading a Pepsi trailer, pop all over. Okay, you got Pepsi pop, Pepsi. Okay. I'll say this. This guy was selected in the expansion draft for the Orlando Magic in the original. Anthony Avent. Wow, that's a good guess, Reggie. It's not right. I remember Anthony Avent, but this is not Anthony Avent. This is original original Magic player that got drafted in the expansion draft from the New York Knicks. He was on the Knicks before this year, the original year, the Orlando, and he got taken in the expansion draft. And that's how he became a Magic. So this is from the first year of the Magic, this card. I can show you the back of the card, I guess, for another picture of him so you can see him a little bit better without his name. There you go. Seymour figured out. Oh, wait, Reggie got it first. It's Sidney Green. Sidney Green is the right answer, and it looks like Reggie got it just before Seymour. Yeah, Sidney Green was on the Knicks, was not protected in the expansion draft, and the Magic selected him, and he was an original Magic player, kind of like our original Tempo players right now. So Sidney Green is the card of the day. And I'll tell you what, it's a 200-point card because it's a pretty hard one. And Reggie's got it. Reggie's going to get it just before Seymour. Just before Seymour. Seymour is too busy with Pepsi, I guess. And wasn't totally sure who that was. Did my clues give it away as far as the expansion stuff there, Smooth? Was that what it was that gave it away? 200 points for Smooth Brown Man and the trivia. Our trivia standings are very early on. So there is a real opportunity to move up fast because we just started out the season. Next Tuesday, we'll do a Tuesday trivia where you can get way more points. But yeah, let me look at the standings with this 200 points for Smooth. This actually may put him in number one. Nope, he's in second with Seymour. Seymour and Smooth both have 200 points now for the year. UC is in the lead with 300. So UC is our Raptor Freak trivia leader currently right now, 300 points on the board. And Seymour and Smooth are in second with 200. So yeah, that's a little, there you go. UNICEF. All right, UNICEF. The Knicks clue. The Knicks clue gave it away. You figured out, okay, who was in the expansion draft that the Magic took from the Knicks? Well, that's Sidney Green. I don't know. I could do more of these questions, even though I'm right at 2 hours. Who was the expansion draft pick for the Magic from the Dallas Mavericks? How about from the Celtics? Who was the expansion draft pick for the Magic from the Celtics? Yeah. Yeah, you need to get on that trophy, Seymour. Yeah, you do. Smooth's on it already. Smooth's on there. G's on there. Amit's on there. David Saborin's on there. Yeah, and Fiercey's going to be on there very shortly. Now we got to see who the new name's going to be next year around this time, putting the nameplate on there. There's lots of room. We got more room for you guys. That's right. Kaz is saying W Stream, W Community. All right, y'all, check on your WNBA fantasy teams for tonight's action. And let's go tempo. Words of keys to victory. Key on the hurt Sparks. Get the momentum. Get that home crowd behind y'all. Feel their energy and let it feed y'all. Do the things you got to do on offense to diversify your attack. Don't rely too heavily on Marina for too long. Really get some Isabel going. Get some Julie and some Maria and some Laura and Niara. Get all of them going. Everybody, I want to see 4 or 5 Toronto Tempo players with double-digit scoring tonight. I don't want to see Marina Mabry with 50 points and nobody else has double digits. So come on, y'all. Let's have a team attack. Spread the ball around, because when y'all move the ball around, y'all are the most successful Tempo this season so far. So move that ball around. You guys are learning each other better. Trust each other. Cut. Get some movement, and boom, you'll get easier shot selection, easier shots. In some ways, the LA team is not one of the better defensive teams in this league, and especially with Brink out. So let's capitalize on this. Let's get this done, and let's make sure we get this home win tonight, because we want to get back to 500, and we're in the middle of the playoff race, right at the bottom of it. So let's get that win tonight. That's right. Yeah, Moreland Wiley was the expansion draft pick to the Dallas Mavericks to the Magic, and Mark Akers was the Boston Celtics one. Who was the Washington Bullets expansion draft pick that went to the Orlando Magic? And how about the Chicago Bulls? Those two teams. Who were those two? Who was the Bullets expansion draft? This is great. He got them. He got Moreland Wiley and Mark Akers. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Good job, man. Good job. Yeah, you know what? I feel like I need to give you some points for this, Seymour, because I asked you a couple questions. I'm going to give you an extra 100. So you're tied for lead with UC now, because you went and answered Moreland Wiley and Mark Akers right there. Interesting stuff. All right, I'm out, y'all. Thank you for watching. Terry Catledge, look at him. He just got another 50 points real quick. Terry Catledge was the Washington one. Now, who is Chicago? Who is Chicago? Man, this guy's going to jump in the lead really fast right here with extra bonus questions real quick. Doing Orlando Magic. He's looking it up probably. I don't know. Who was the Bulls expansion draft pick to the Magic at the beginning there? All right, I should just go. I'm 2 minutes over. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Real quick, the injuries are bang, bang, mankind style. You did it. Like bang, 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 bang. Brittany and Kiki are out for the Tempo. And on the other side, Kelsey Plum and Cameron Brink are out. The referees tonight are Tony Patillo, Teresa Stuck, and Gerda Gatling. Our collective record with them is 1-4 for the season so far. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow reacting to the Tempo game tonight. Hopefully a victory, and we'll have a good time reacting to the win. All right. I appreciate everybody playing trivia today. Thank you, Seymour, for playing that little extra stuff at the end. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Tempo, and welcome Jaden Bradley to the Raptors. Let's go.